Going.
All right, there we go. We're live. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. This is Streaming with Strangers, and my bro Nico Z's in the house. Why don't you go ahead and
Yeah,
introduce
boy.
yourself? Let everybody know maybe how you got into this space and how that led you to the YouTube channel and what you're doing now in the industry.
All right, cool. Well, thanks so much for having me on the show, Ken. I've been a big fan of you actually for a while now, man. I mean, actually checked out a lot of your material. And for the guys watching on my channel, definitely check it out. I have Ken's link in the description for you guys to go check out his stuff. He posts a lot of really good fundamental stuff. I've gotten to the market for about 2 years now. Originally, I was working as an engineer. My buddy Nick told me about Ethereum. At that time, I didn't really know anything about cryptocurrencies. I dove in, bought a good amount of Ethereum. I think like the baseline was like 2K at that time to buy on Coinbase. I immediately bought $2,000 worth of Ethereum. And before you had that huge run up. I think I bought Ethereum at like $100 and it had this massive run up. And immediately a thought to my mind, wow, I just made more in cryptocurrencies than I did at my job working for a month. Like, what am I doing? Like, there
Right.
has to be another. There is is there more of this out there? So then I dove into altcoins, started doing researching, and I think I realized that there was this whole realm of trading involved in cryptocurrencies, and that's where I really got interested. Now, a lot of people know me as cryptocurrency trader. I do technical analysis, I do live shows, and all this good stuff. But lately, actually, my boy Nye told me, and your boys with Nye, he actually told me that it's really important to build. Oh shit! Oops. Sorry about that, man. For some reason they're not. Are they hearing you on my end? On your end?
I Yeah, I'm using OBS so I can see both of our bars, the volume bars moving individually.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully they can hear me now. Anyways, so for my end, I dove into trading, and then my boy Nye told me, "Hey, look, it's important to build something outside of just money. Money doesn't buy happiness in a day. There is a bigger picture to cryptocurrencies than what we see, just on charts." And that's what really started triggering me in, I think in December. I started thinking to myself, wait a minute, there is something bigger here. It's important for me to give back, right? We did those giveaways, and it's important to, have decentralization. Now, of course, you and I, with our decentralized, that was the original purpose of this talk was, decentralization, regulations, and all that good stuff. I personally don't mind regulations because I come from a more traditional standpoint, but not to say I don't dislike decentralization. I do like the idea of decentralization. However, as still a trader full time, because this is my daily job,
Right, you
right?
would like there to
Obviously,
be a CEO behind the wheel to
it,
help
it,
steer, right? So, yeah,
exactly,
exact. So,
exactly.
like,
I want Goldman Sachs to come in and throw $1 trillion towards cryptocurrencies because then everybody makes a ton of money, right? And the bull market comes back. But at the same time, obviously we don't want to be best friends with those bankers, and there needs to be that divide. So I think that's the main purpose of the show today. We'll be talking about that, guys, for my audience.
yeah, we
And
definitely do not see things similarly there.
no, definitely not. Which is really
I
cool.
see those institutions and regulations coming in and utilizing the technology and actually cutting their own foot off. It's opt in. You can't force me to use your centralized blockchain. And if it's a good company, a good project, it's open source, which means somebody would just clone it, decentralize it, and I'll opt to use that version of your business that is centralized. So as a
Yeah,
trader, you may invest in a security token of a centralized entity, but as a utilizer of entities of blockchain technologies, I'd probably go with those backdoor stolen cloned projects that are decentralized. They may not have a CEO, but I don't have to worry about anything, being a centralized problem with funds being frozen,
yeah. No,
directions.
I mean absolutely. See, that's fantastic. So actually, Ken, if you want to give my side, an intro about yourself and
Oh,
like what
yes.
you're doing now. Now it's pretty cool. Actually, I actually discovered you, Ken, not from crypto Twitter, from my side of the field. So I actually partnered up with this crew called Rogue Money, Rogue Coin. They do a lot of stuff with like JSNIP, Cliff High, a lot of those guys on that end, and they're friends with Bitcoin Ben and so forth. And then that's how I sort of discovered you through like the another side of crypto,
Oh, cool, cool,
not
cool. Yeah, I've done interviews with all those guys.
exactly.
Cliff,
So the whole Litecoin, Digibyte,
JSnip,
Theta.
Ben. Yeah,
Exactly.
so yeah, I guess, yeah, guys, just for the heads up, we're doing a cross stream. So he's live on his show, I'm live on my show. So if you're watching, go check out Nico Z, Crypto Nico Z on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. My name's Ken Bozak. How goes it, everyone? I've been in this space since late 2016. So my first Ethereum purchase was actually at like $4. I know you said yours was at 100, so I had the same feels, but it was exponential because I got my first like Litecoin at $1. Bitcoin was like $400, and I kind of got into it because I was actually cast out of the traditional legacy investing in world. I wanted to invest in Snapchat's IPO. I found out I had to be accredited. I found out what that meant. I watched Snapchat go public and went from $4 to $24. I bought public when I was allowed to because I was not accredited. I could not get in earlier. And then it dumped to $8 the next day. So I lost a lot of money on my first, real investment because I was an accredited investor. And I got a little bit of a vendetta. I took all my money out of the bank. I sold all the cannabis stocks that I was trading at the time because that's kind of what got me into investing. I looked at cannabis stocks and I said, wait, I can legally invest in cannabis? Oh, it's a no-brainer. And I actually did about 500 to 700% gains on a couple
Wow.
of those stocks. Yeah, there was a
That's
few good
awesome.
ones, and I looked at the agricultural patents and things like that before I did it. Some due diligence actually before I even just randomly bought things. It was like I wasn't an intentional trader. I didn't really mean to. I just was trying it out, and I was like naturally kind of good at it. I use like common
Yeah,
sense and street
that's
smarts. You know what I
fantastic.
mean?
Hmm.
And I kind of found out about cryptocurrencies through Vitalik's video on Ethereum's ICO. And I looked, I was like, wait, no KYC, no accredited investor. I can invest in an ICO. And I actually didn't invest in the ICO. I actually looked at Bitcoin. It segued me. So I went all in on Bitcoin about 6 months to a year after hearing it. So in about 2017, I had zero stocks, zero cash, all crypto. I sold my TV, my Xbox, my recliner, all for cryptocurrencies early 2017. And I've been living off of crypto for about a year and a half now.
Dude, good for you, man.
Everything I do is spending crypto. So a lot of people are like, oh, don't spend it, hodl. And I'm like, well, if I hodl, I starve. Like I use
Yeah.
Bitrefill. I order Domino's through Bitrefill. I get 10% off when I spend Dash. I order things through Amazon and Amazon Grocery, and I use Purse.io to save 20 to 30%. So there's like so many ways to actually use this as a currency while I'm also using it as an investment opportunity.
Do you
But
have all that stuff on your channel, Ken? Like on how to use those services?
yeah, it's very disorganized. I'm the most unprofessional podcaster I know.
It's fine,
I
man.
really don't have a really easy way to like find all that stuff. I have a website, KENNBOSAK.com,
Cool.
KenBozak.com, and I have a tab that you can go through for like how to set up a wallet, how to use Changely, or how to, play Steam monsters, like, things like actually how to use crypto, not just
Yeah,
when
yeah,
to
yeah,
buy,
yeah.
when to sell, or what to buy or what to sell. I'm more showing
Exactly.
people like how to actually use the stuff that's under the hood. That way they get more of a feel of one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin rather than pegging it to the dollar value every move they make.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, check that out because that's awesome. For me, right? I dive into fundamentals a little bit, but actually utilizing these services, guys, is what will trigger that mainstream adoption that we're all looking for,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
generate revenue for everybody. Yo, keep going, please.
Yeah, so I traveled 2018 after I went all in. Obviously there was a great year for Bitcoin. So the beginning of 2018, I actually quit my day job of 6 years doing micro soldering and logic board repair, data restoration. I was fixing phones and computers. And I walked away after 6 years thanks to crypto. And I actually went on a worldwide tour. I went to I think about 52 to 56 different blockchain conferences in
Yeah, you were
2018.
everywhere.
Yeah, I went to about 6 different countries. I took about 100 airplane rides. I got arrested by Homeland Security, searched by TSA several times. I had guns pointed at me in Barcelona trying to get on a cruise ship with John McAfee. It was an exciting year. It was really
Wow.
interesting, but I learned a lot by being able to have a lot of one-on-one time with the people behind these coins. Like I got to hang out with, John McAfee, Brock Pierce, Roger Ver, one on one, not just once or for 1 hour, but I mean, like, several different conferences throughout the year, plus the cruise I was on thanks to Coinsbank, which I 100% recommend that you go on the Coinsbank blockchain cruise. It was a 5-day party, but a renaissance. It was so educational and so inspiring. And then I got 5 days locked on a boat with John McAfee, Roger Vera, Brock Pierce, and Charlie Lee, Bobby Lee. I mean, there's so many amazing people.
Yeah, when is
Tone
that?
Vays, Jimmy Song was there. Wow, there was a great week in the sea, but it was a good conference. I actually don't remember exactly when it is coming up, but Coinsbank hashtag blockchain cruise. That's how I keep up with it.
All right, cool. Yeah. We'll definitely check that out. I've been going. I'm actually going to be going to Hong Kong. I'm not sure whether you're going to that Hong Kong Blockchain Week. I'm going to try to make an effort to go out there, and obviously a few other events at Consensus and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to be there.
I'm actually going to the anti-consensus. I think that Magical Crypto Friends are trying to compete with Consensus in New York City by throwing an event at the same time. So I might be across the street.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so I'll be seeing you in a couple events, and this blockchain cruise. This could be another thing for me to check out.
Oh, 100% recommend it. It was second best time of my life.
Awesome. Well, I think one of the first question that people have already for you is, what coins do you really like? Now, you're coming in from the same sort of field as some of these people, so check that out, guys. You're going to hear Litecoin and so forth, and
Right.
Ken's obviously a very avid fan.
Yeah, a little biased on some of the things.
He's a little bit biased on his arms.
I
right
actually
there.
like, but I'm actually really big on coins and things that I can actually use. For starters, when I got into Bitcoin, I found a real problem with Bitcoin when I ran into everything that it was promoted as was actually not true. Bitcoin is not anonymous. It is not free to send anywhere in the world. There's many third parties. I mean, miners are third parties in my opinion. So it's all kind of biased when I got in, and I was actually accepting Bitcoin donations when somebody did a blockchain search on my public address and sent me a message telling me exactly how much Bitcoin I owned on that donation address. And
Yeah.
I was like, I thought it was anonymous. I didn't really know what was happening. And that's actually what led me to Dash and Monero and these privacy coins. And I kind of fell in love with Dash after I learned how much I could use it for its privacy abilities. If I'm going out to the bar with you and you say, hey, Ken, let me cover the bill, just pay me later. And I'll be like, all right, well, I'd much rather send you Dash than Bitcoin, so you don't have any way to go back, check out all the transactions I've done with that public address. Not for nothing, but maybe, we're not as close as friends, or I could, be putting myself in a position of a honeypot, or whatever the case may be. So I learned to use coins for their most powerful purpose. Like Dash is for anonymous, Bitcoin is for the store of value and gold and foundational layer, what I cash in and out of. But when I'm using it, like you said, Litecoin, again, when I want to send something really small and really fast, like $1 to a friend, I'm probably going to use Litecoin. It's going to settle instantly. It's just going to go, and it works. So there was just things that I've done by using it, incentivized actually not just invest but hold it, because I don't need to swap in and out of it. It's like having several checking accounts. I just go to whichever account I need to use. Is it a privacy? Is it a slow big transaction like Bitcoin that I just want more security behind? Is it a cheaper transaction I want to go fast like Litecoin? Or platforms that I actually utilize like Steam. When I blog on steemit.com, I earn Steam, so now I'm holding that because I'm earning it. There's platforms like steammonsters.com. You can actually play a game on that platform. And then, Ethereum and all these collectibles like, CryptoKitties, Blockchain Cuties, a lot of things that I actually have in my portfolio. Now this year, I've actually moved into digital assets like non-fungible tokens, things that people don't really look at the volatility as much. When I spend 100 Steam on a particular Steam Monster card that's on the blockchain, I don't really care if I get that dollar value back. I want at least 100 Steam back though. And that's what I'm thinking when I'm building my new, digital asset portfolio, these physical non-fungibles. Even with things like the Wax.io blockchain, I've really starting to fall in love with what they're doing, where they have a physical vault full of physical items like Yeezy shoes, and you can have a token that says you own these shoes. You can send them the token. They'll send you the shoes through like Amazon Prime, and in 2 days you have Yeezy shoes from swapping a token. And the power behind that is you can send me that token. I can buy those shoes off you and have it sent right to me. And it just makes it easier for us to send these real world items around. And that's actually what I think might lead to fractional physical asset non-fungible tokens, where you could send me maybe half of issue, and it's just because I want to, escrow on a loan or something that you gave. So it's just like using these technologies opens your eyes to more than red and green candles when you can see the user experience and basically predict how far it's going to go. Like Steam, I really think Steam is underrated. I feel like it's going to have a bigger impact when these high school kids start to hop on it and see cat videos are making $100.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. Now, what are your thoughts? I mean, these are coming from some of these guys right here. They're asking me right now. What are your thoughts, of course, on like Theta? What are your thoughts on Digibyte? What do you see? Like, what's like your play?
I
on
don't
them?
hold either of those actually. I followed Digibyte for a long time, but I never really got into holding it. I like that it's CPU mineable. So why
Mhm.
buy it when you can just earn it? So do that. Stop buying it with your fiat and start mining it with your computer. That's what I liked about Digi. And then you could take those gains, always, those moon bags, 10%, keep it. But when you make profits, move it into something like Bitcoin. That way you can diversify and reinvest those earnings and you're not stuck holding an alternative currency. I mean, if Bitcoin doesn't do well, alternative currencies do not do well. I mean, Tron has been making waves and waves as well, but they're
Yeah.
exceptions right now. They've been doing very well in a bear market.
Have you seen Chico Crypto's random thing? Have you seen Chico Crypto's video on Tron and BNB and him going at him?
No.
You didn't see that? So you know who Chico Crypto is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I just
Yeah,
haven't
he's
seen him
like he
going
went
after
after
him.
Vet and he went after like, Box Mining and all those big names. Yeah, he just published a video on Tron and BNB. Check that out, guys. He pretty much said it was an inside job.
Oh, of course, dude.
And
It's obvious. But that's the thing,
yeah,
though.
like
See, this is where I'm like, that's fine. Who cares? The
yeah,
free
complete
market
inside
will
job.
fucking. Sorry, I know I'm on your channel.
No,
I'm just
no,
saying,
you're
like,
good, you're good,
the
you're good.
market will decide what happens to those guys, right?
Yeah.
If we don't like what they have done, then stop using their exchange. Stop investing in their stuff, and that's what will happen, right? Like, that's the difference between a centralized and decentralized investments. We're gonna decide what happens to that company now. People will just stop using Binance because of the insider trading. People don't like Coinbase, so we don't recommend it anymore. They can't buy our love back at this point.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody promoting AOL chat rooms anymore, and that's how I think Coinbase has become like the AOL of crypto. They were great, but they're not what we need newer like. I don't think Binance accepting credit cards and debit cards, which is what this kind of started
Yeah,
this.
that was
I
my next
think that
question
was the
too.
most backwards move that we could have made.
So you're okay. I actually had a really cool conversation yesterday with one of my buddies. He was pretty much saying that we are like Binance is now becoming an enabler to the centralization essentially,
Hmm.
and that when Pomp always says short the banks, long Bitcoin, and now it's becoming like short the exchanges, long Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Binance has publicly incorporated Chainalysis. So if you're trading on Binance and moving money around and doing anything, they're tracking you like the NSA of blockchain. So they're the exact opposite of what the community stands for when it comes to decentralization, immunity, anonymity at least is synonymous transactions, all this. I mean, if Binance wanted to, they could freeze accounts. What are you going to do about it? And they've stopped people from even signing up. So having these centralized exchanges becoming like the epicenters of where crypto is bought and sold is not positive, because they're creating the same problem we're trying to get away from when it comes to the legacy banking and traditional investment industries. Like when you have to go through KYC to invest in an ICO, that's some bullshit.
I like it. I like it. That's really interesting, guys. Now, like I said, I come from a more traditional standpoint, guys, where like I said, I'm a trader first. Now, don't hate on me, guys. I'm gonna get so much hate on this, man, and I always do. I always get freaking messages in my Twitter and whatnot, going, "Yo, fuck you, you everything that we hate in
You
this
should see
world."
how much love Tone Vase gets. He's a trader first as well, and he tells people that. He's not
Dude,
emotionally attached to this shit.
his call on that short on Bitcoin, man, that was legitimate. That was really legitimate. It's unfortunate that BitMEX closed his account, which is a prime example of what you just
But
said.
yeah, exactly. That's the point. So I want us to stop getting on our hands and knees and begging for regulations and supporting these centralized companies like Coinbase. Or look what happened with Poloniex. Goldman Sachs acquired Poloniex for, what was it, like 300 million or 100 and something million
Mhm.
dollars, and they submitted mandatory KYC. Some people that were using Poloniex didn't have KYC to submit. They were in positions that they were disenfranchised people. They were in other countries around the world that they didn't have the criteria to even get their cryptocurrencies off that exchange now. So their money was stolen by a bank that bought a crypto exchange. I don't feel like we need to reward that with praise. We need to start warning people to, stop using these exchanges. Start going peer to peer for trades. Like if you're looking to do a sell, maybe let somebody know, and you could sell that on peer to peer to a friend of yours that's willing to do the buy and the sell. And I don't know. We got to get back to the grassroots of what crypto is, and not trying to build these borders to entry, because that's what's really going to happen. When an
Yeah.
exchange says no, you're done, we're done with you, then what do you do at that point? They stole your money, like, or they exit, like Cripsy.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So what are your thoughts right now, for example, on like the Bakkt coming in, right? Or the Fidelity coming in, the Nasdaq coming in? Like what are your thoughts? Like for like recently, right? Van Eck and Granite Shares just announced that they are going to be sorry, they did refile
Yeah,
their
after the day after we came back, and I saw
yeah,
that coming. I
exactly.
made a tweet about that too when they said that they were withdrawing, and I said that it doesn't make sense to keep throwing wood on a dead fire if there's nobody at the government to hear their cause. Why keep putting money behind it? It was a financial decision in the right way. And then when the government came back, I knew that they were going to resubmit it, so I was comfortable with that. But the same thing that happened with the futures is going to happen with this ETF. I think they're going to come in and they're going to have a bigger way to manipulate it in a direction that makes it best for their interests. When we saw Poloniex come in and get bought by Goldman Sachs, I used to use Poloniex to do lending. I used to lend my Bitcoin out on Poloniex for like 1 to 2% a day. That was awesome. No bank does that. I get 0.001 or 0.01% from my bank.
Yeah, you don't get anything. You get like a
So,
cent, a couple
so
cents.
a bank bought my exchange there. I was making, by having a savings account there, and casted me out. I feel like that's what's going to happen with these ETFs. We're just going to have a way for them to be able to suppress the price enough, the same way that they did with the real estate market, the same way they did it with the website .com boom era, where they say, oh, this is dying, this is dying. It's because they were buying it and selling it down, and they knew they were taking a temporary loss. But that's not the problem for them when they know intentionally they are pushing the price down. They are willing to take a 10 to 20% loss on these trades in order to make 100 to 300% gain when they pump it back up and dump on the market for a second run. And that's what's going to
Correct.
happen. We saw it happen with CBOE, with the
Hmm.
futures. They have no incentive to buy Bitcoin when they can just bet against it. Why would you buy a futures option on the way up when you would just
Yeah, you
buy
can just short
Bitcoin and
it.
hold Bitcoin? You would
Exactly.
just have, and if you had Bitcoin and just held it, you would get all the forks, and all those forks you could reinvest into Bitcoin, which gets you more forks over time. So
Yeah.
why would you hold that piece of paper that's pegged to a Bitcoin? It gives you none of these benefits. So
Correct.
they were only incentivized to short, to say bet against, bet against. And with these ETFs, with the amount of money they're going to be able to move in, at the rate they're going to be able to buy OTC and sell on the market, which is a totally different nightmare that people don't even pay attention to. But that loss is not really a negative for them when they know that they are betting against it anyway on the other side. So the loss they make from OTC to exchange and the market move, then they bet against it on the futures. So they're making money even when they're losing money. They just hedge heavier in one other direction. So they're just going to
Correct.
manipulate this as far down as they can until that's when we get that mainstream adoption, right? Like I don't think institutional adoption's mainstream. That's just institutional. It's the manipulators. Retail investors are what's going to level the playing field in this. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. You can't fractional reserve Bitcoin. You can't lend out Bitcoin you don't have. You can't go negative in your Bitcoin wallet. You can't spend Bitcoin you don't have in your on your Cool Wallet S that I got here. I can't go negative. So they can't take money and make money out of thin air. And when we have retail investors start to come in and hold this more long-term mentality than day trade and short mentality, that's when we'll start to see that level out in volatility where the volume and everything, like that's mainstream adoption. But I don't think that we're going to get the pump everybody expects because the big money is already betting short.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, this is, Ken comes from a different side of me, right? He comes from, well, different side of crypto. I shouldn't say me. He comes from a different side of crypto, right? He's a fundamentalist. He believes in the whole picture of cryptocurrencies. And, as a trader, normally I'd be like, nah, fuck this. He doesn't, this doesn't make any sense to me. But I do actually appreciate, and I think it's really important for everybody to understand what exactly is cryptocurrencies. What's the logic behind them? Why do people care about them? It's, there is an actual movement behind this more than, earning whatever, a few $1,000 here and there.
Yeah,
There
it's
is
a bet
definitely more.
against political disenfranchisement, you know, when you're being suppressed economically. When you see countries being oppressed and going through financial crisis, they hedge into crypto. China has done it in the past. Venezuela
Turkey
has
did it.
done it right recently,
Yep.
you know, with Dash. I mean, there's more merchants in Venezuela accepting Dash than actual Barcelonian or whatever, anything else.
Yeah, for Church's Chicken and
Yeah,
And
all
KFC.
of
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah, it's really cool.
They prefer this cryptocurrency now rather than their government issued currency because they can trust it. You know, they can verify that this is the supply, this is the issuance, this is the supply and demand. They're not just having money printed every day and thrown out, you know, into endless wars that makes their savings account worth less over time.
Exactly. Matthew Grimes has a question for you, man. What exchange can you use without gatekeepers? So,
Uh
DEXs, I guess you would say, to a certain degree, like Fort Delta and stuff.
yeah,
I actually had a
exactly.
conversation with my buddy who's a computer science major, guys, and he told me yesterday that for Binance to be a DEX, you need about 500,000 transactions per second. And right now, Ethereum's like 20 or something like that, or 10. It's very slow. So we're not there yet, but does not mean that we won't be there.
Personally, I used to like using when I got into this space. There was a lot of ways to get in without having to go through KYC and like crazy stuff. Like local bitcoins was awesome before they went mandatory KYC. There
Yeah,
was great arbitrage too to be made. I mean, you could buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, go on local Bitcoins and sell it for 10 to 20% market value, and there was escorts or drug dealers willing to pay for it. Whatever the case may be, you know what I mean. I'm using the worst case scenario, guys. You know the mainstream's projective, but no, I mean it was just a way to trade. It was a different way to go about it, and I used to use Shapeshift a lot. I had a video. Wow. Okay, I have a video of me on. This is for like 2 years ago, 3 years. I don't know. Wow, I bought Ethereum, like I said, around like $4 or so. But I was using Jack's wallet and Shapeshift to day trade it into Ethereum Classic after it forked, and I went from having like 100 Ethereum to a couple hundred Ethereum, trading it back and forth, pegging out of Ethereum Classic. I would just ride the waves, dude. And I'm not a traditional trader. Common sense. I saw a pattern. Ethereum Classic goes up, Ethereum goes down. Ethereum goes up, Classic goes down. I just kept getting out and into the other as the waves were, and I was popping up
using
in the middle.
Shapeshift,
Shapeshift,
no
no
exchange.
KYC, no nothing. And I immediately got my private keys after each trade. So the exchange never had my private keys. And it
Yeah,
was saving me a lot of fees rather than send my Bitcoin to an exchange transaction fee. Then I had the exchange fee from trading, and then I have the withdrawal fee, again, the transaction fee back to my wallet. So there's three fees that I avoid by just using. But then they went mandatory KYC. So Eric Voorhees broke my heart, and I just wish he would just leave New York City and not do that. But I see what they're doing. They're going towards the direction of Fidelity, and they want to be the next back. That's, you know, they want all these institutional investors to come through them, get this Fox token or whatever the hell, and trade. I don't know, but there used to be a lot of ways, right? And now even the decentralized exchanges that we thought were impenetrable are being shut down by the SEC, and the founders and creators of these decentralized exchanges are being arrested. So there is no safe. Can't tell you there's a safe way. I mean, honestly, it's peer to peer. You have a group channel with reputation that you've established in the networks, telegrams, discords, streamers like you and me. You know, like we have
yeah.
reputations that are public. If we were to burn somebody, then that is worth more than the money on the line. You know, so there's better ways to do it, and I think the grassroots effort, peer to peer. If you're looking to trade, reach out to people that are traders like you that you can trust.
I think it's time for you to create something, Ken.
I think that you know what though, and this is my theory on this. They'll create it. Like I said, Poloniex was built to be an exchange for anybody to use. Just username, password, done. Now Goldman Sachs bought it, and it's It's the opposite of what it was. And you know who built Poloniex? The people that believed in cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies. You know, the people that truly wanted that to be a thing, right? These are enthusiasts that built these monoliths of crypto that is Poloniex. Now they're being basically spit in the face by the institutions they were building these warships against. You know, it's like having a revolution taken over by another revolt, but it's, you know, a controlled revolt. They have, you know, I forget the term, but it's, you know, when the government hires protesters to protest a protest. It's sort of what has happened with these exchanges. So we're going to see these developers incentivized to create an exchange that will be equivalent to what Bitcoin is to currencies. There will be a open source, decentralized exchange that truly works. And I think that the only thing that was holding that back from being a possibility was stable coins. Now we had like the Gemini dollar and other stable coins that, like, even the Steam backed dollar, things like that. We don't really have to worry about fiat gateways. We don't have to have a bank for this decentralized autonomous organization that is a decentralized, you know, exchange. We can trade in and out of stable coins and don't have to really worry about, you know, having to go through fiat. I'll still be able to have my dollar value when Bitcoin goes up and down, and I can still trade in and out of that. I think that was really empowering when we saw these stable coins start to come out like Gemini. But I don't know, man. It's going to be a crazy revolution.
Yeah, I think 2019, 2020, guys, you guys are about to see some pretty cool stuff coming around, right? Obviously, a lot of these chains are starting to become a lot faster. They're starting to, you know, this technology is starting to actually be developed out.
Yeah,
right?
look at the STO market, man. It's everything the ICOs needed from the get-go.
Exactly. Yes, guys. Sorry, I'm looking at my comments real fast. The Canadian exchange Quadriga.
Yeah.
It did go down. You know, the CEO, unfortunately, he passed away. He's a young guy, man. I actually looked at the death certificate. He's a young guy. He was born in, I think, 89 or something like that, or 87, and he's not that old at all. Do you by chance know what happened to him?
No, I don't.
I
And
didn't.
yeah, I know a lot of Canadians that were using the exchange, and there was a lot of people that are still up in arms, but it obviously wasn't an intentional move. There must be some,
No,
you know, they're changing of this is a centralized problem, right? They're changing power over to somebody. They can't make moves without approvals, so now everything's frozen, it's down. And a lot of exchanges are having a hard time with their banks now again and getting, you know, shut down from that end as well. So we don't know. We're in unclarity, right? We don't know if the exchange was shut down or if it's just down for maintenance in the meantime. But
Yeah,
this is a wake-up call to people that it doesn't matter if it's a hacked exchange or an act of God and somebody passes away at the wheel. There can be times at where your assets are frozen and it's not your money. You know, it never was because it was on the exchange. You know, people will leave a buy order open or a sell order open and have their exchange or their coin sitting on an exchange because they like the comfort of a stop loss. But when not if, when that exchange has a problem, doesn't matter how much money you made, I'm going to guarantee you're going to lose more than you've made doing all that risky stuff. It's like buying lottery tickets. I don't care how many times you win $100 on a lottery ticket, you're going to have spent more money on that travel, on that dumb risk that you've just been taking.
correct, guys. And, you know, this is, you know, goes back to me as a trader. You know, we talk about taking profit and so forth. You know, this is prime example right now.
Well, yeah,
Obviously,
every time I made 20% or more on a coin, I put it back into Bitcoin. You know,
exactly,
I accumulated
exactly.
more Bitcoin off my gains, and eventually the coins that I have now, it's free money. I have no emotional, sentimental, or financial attachment to 90% of my portfolio because I hedged it all back into Bitcoin throughout 2017 and 2018. So it's like I could care less about my Litecoin. I could care less about my Ethereum. You know, I've already made my money back X amount over, and I've made more Bitcoin as well. So that's why I like a lot of things. Like when I talk to people that are investors that do trade, I try to segue them into things like staking and running a master node, things like that, where there's residual other means of income besides just trading. You know, they can actually get
Yeah,
their hands on it and be like, oh, wait, all right, so I've been trading Dash for like 3 years, but I could have been staking it too. I'm like, yeah, and you could have been taking your staking rewards and trading that to get more Dash to stake. I mean, you didn't know that? I'm like, no. I was like, well, it's called having your crypto and eating it too.
Yeah, no, exactly. You bring up a good point, guys. That is definitely something I'm actually looking into. I just got an office at a WeWork around here, and they provide full electricity. Like it's part of your rent and whatnot for the WeWork. And I have like a 3-person office, so I was thinking about like creating like a miner in the corner. And I don't think they would know. Like I don't understand how they would know that that it's now I'm in
They're gonna
California,
find out, dude. I'm
dude.
sorry.
Dude,
I know that they're gonna find only because it's not quiet. Have you've ever seen a
No,
miner
no, no.
run?
I was thinking about just doing like a graphics card in like a rig, like a just
Oh,
a
just like a
rig.
small, yeah, like it looks
Yeah,
like a
just a
gaming
computer rig.
computer, nothing fancy.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, nothing crazy. I'm not talking like open,
Well, that's what I mean. You
casing.
could be mining a Digibyte, and you could be mining BitTube because BitTube CPU mineable. So you could be mining like 2 or 3 different currencies on your computer, and you know how like it works. You could actually throttle it and have these things in place that if it becomes unprofitable at the time, you just switch over to the other coin that you were mining.
Yeah, see that's it. See that's awesome. And I have to look into that because I really wonder if they can trace back to which room is actually doing the mining. Because
At
of course their
WeWork, I'm sure
electricity
they do.
bill.
I'm sure they do because certain people, if they're staying long enough, I've been to WeWorks. I never had a space there, but when you have a long term spot there, they do charge you for more like electricity and stuff. So I know they have to have a way to gauge each room for being able to
Oh,
approve you for your bill, right? If they were
yeah.
charging you for electricity, you would want proof that you used the X amount of electricity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm
Oh,
sure that it would hop up on the
oh.
radar, but
But if it didn't though, man, I'm gonna open a series of
it might
miners.
be worth a shot though, even the video alone, I mean,
Yeah.
YouTube AdSense has been god awful, but if you put it on BitTube and Steam it and other ways, like, the content that we're making, I'm streaming on 4 different platforms right now to spread out my content. And then I write blogs and do other things because one video could be put in 10 places to make residual income for monetizing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, a few more questions right here. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying it. One guy has a pretty cool suggestion right here. He goes, "Hey Z, how about a craft beer company that issues a token value to each of their containers, keg/bottle? The purchaser can save up the tokens and redeem them later for more beer."
It's genius. I actually was at a conference in Chicago by Untraceable. It was Loyalty Live, and I actually spoke on stage in front of like McDonald's, American Airlines, Target. There's a lot of chains there. I think Starbucks. There was a lot, and they were basically there to learn about how they could tokenize their loyalty points and reward systems, and figure out how to use smart contracts. And
Hmm.
basically, I said, well, your middleman isn't really the bank right now. Your middleman is your loyalty company or rewards company, the company that is monitoring your customers' engagement with you and tracking this digital coupon that you've issued. You could replace them with a smart contract and have it, send. If this was my example to McDonald's. If you were to hold a McCoin in your wallet, you could get a Fry token, and every 10 Fry tokens is worth 1 McCoin, and people would hold more McCoins to get more Fry tokens than they could buy back their, and that would keep my money in your economy, your ecosystem, without me taking any supplies or any goods and services out. And to counter this, it's sort of like a gift card, except when businesses use gift cards, they're not allowed to spend that money. So if I get a McDonald's $1 million gift card, if I don't spend that money at McDonald's, they can't do anything with that money as a business because they don't know where they're going to have to redistribute that money in their ledgers, which McDonald's is supposed to get that money when I spend it. They don't know yet, so they can't do nothing with it. Then, while we're staking these McCoins, they're locked in an escrow. They know that they can, trade off this. They have some leverage now. And they were really interested in the concept because I was like, if the coin starts out, if you say it's backed by a Big Mac, because that's what they did. I had these coins that I bought from McDonald's that were, you could trade a gold coin in that they sold for the price of a Big Mac and you get a Big Mac in return. And now that coin is worth a Big Mac, at least. Whatever a Big Mac's going for. If Big Macs go up in value, I have saved money on my future Big Mac. It's crazy, right? But now this
It's nuts.
token on
It's
the
wild.
open market may actually be worth more than a Big Mac because now it has more value than a Big Mac. I can send you it over the internet easily. Here, I have a
Yeah.
Big Mac. Makes it more valuable than the one in my hand, right? So it may increase revenue for them because now they're selling Big Mac tokens that are worth more than the Big Macs that they're pegged on. And this may be the same for a beer company as well, but it's going to start with the Internet of Things. We're going to have a lot of these Bluetooth light NFC tracking materials like they're trying to put in your t-shirts and you never even know it's there. But then
Yeah,
there's
like
going to be
RFID tags and whatnot.
as we get into that ingrained technology into the things that exist that we interact with, like this bottle of water will have a little receiver in it, and when I throw it in my trash and then I throw my trash in a dumpster, the dumpster goes into the trash truck. The trash truck's going to be able to follow all those where this came from. And it's that's where we're headed, but we're going to need the physical things that are going to track these digital inventions, right? But that's incentives, right? Like, we never had Netflix until there was a reason to. We have, oh, this internet's great. What can we do with it? Then, it begets the end result. So I think that we're going to see these companies be incentivized to create better technologies, like why I think mining won't be as big of a power problem as people are thinking it is, because Bitcoin mining incentivizes cheaper, faster, better renewable electricity sources. So people that create electricity are incentivized to make it better, faster, and cheaper, not more expensive, slower, and bad. So we're going to find better ways to get electricity because we have more uses for it. We're going to find more uses for this technology as we move forward. And like I said, that beer thing's really cool. I think that if they put it in the caps, like, how they send out the caps with the code on it, if it had a private key, if you could sweep that private key and then I have like a collection of this, that would be worth something. And then the company could do a sweep of all the caps and lids that were thrown away that nobody ever collected, and they could burn them, making the other coins worth more.
See, this is really good stuff, guys. This is why I really like. I'm gonna start getting people like Ken and so forth. We want to start having little power hours and whatnot. A group of people talking about fundamentals and so forth. Because it is really fun. Obviously, you guys. I have like 6,000 people right now on my channel. Everybody knows me as a trader, and everybody knows me as doing charts. It's all fun and games when you do charts. It can get boring though real fast.
No, it does. You got to get into the fundamentals, man. Like, when I first got into trading, I was actually jumping in these coins Discords and Telegrams and kind of being a fly on the wall, looking at the developers argue with each other and the investors argue, and I was just like, and then I see market moves after I saw news in Discords and Telegrams, and I'm like, well, fuck TA. I'm seeing what makes the TA move. I'm watching the red candle happen in an argument between 3 developers for a coin that only has 6 developers on it. I know that it's about to dump. So I go on the market and I sell it. And then 2 hours later, everybody sold because the developers didn't get along through the argument and they left the program. And then we have people come in, no offense, that come in with chart reading and they're like, oh, I told you this was happening. Like, you didn't know the team was going to break up. Shut up.
Completely fair, man. Quick question for you. What projects are you currently working on in this space? So I know, for those of you that don't know, Ken, he works on a ton of different projects. He's definitely an influencer in the space. He spoke at World CryptoCon and a few other things. What projects are you currently working on that you want to just sort of talk about?
Right now, I actually work with Strokin Tokens. They are basically like a clip site, but a bounty clip site, adult platform for adult content. But if people had an idea for adult content to be made, they could submit this bounty, put out the idea. People can support that idea, creating more revenue for the bounty, incentivizing the actors to create that content. And if nobody creates the content, the investors get the money back. If somebody creates the content, they vote on which one was the best version of that bounty idea, and the revenue is divided equally per share of the people that contributed to the pool. And the people that do invest in these ideas actually get a percentage back off that because the submitted idea actually went through. So it's like you got a production cut. You produce this content by putting out the bounty. So you get a little bit back. So if it ends up making more than your original proposal that you submitted, you can actually make your money back or make profit off of the fruition of this bounty. So I think it's pretty empowering for adult performers, sort of like a Patreon or a GoFundMe. Because if you're a content creator that makes adult content, maybe you're a cute girl that wants to go to the Bahamas and make porn on the beach. Well, you put out the idea, your fans and audience can contribute to it. You go to the Bahamas, you make the videos, you put them up, and your fans get the content, and you got the funding. So it's a really empowering tool for like a disenfranchised entertainment industry that's, everybody uses it, but it's the most oppressed, industry.
Someone says have Lisa Ann read bedtime stories.
You could do this if you could get
submit the idea, Danny. Submit the idea. Go to Strokin's platform, man, and submit that idea.
That is a great idea. I thought it would be funny to try to do like I don't want to get anybody mad at me, But I thought it'd be funny to get like Tiffany Hayden to do like topless white paper readings or something. You know, I don't know, just like dumb stuff that would never happen. But I mean, if enough money got raised, who knows what people would do? It'd just be fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be adult entertainment, by the way. You know, me and you could use this platform as well, just like I could use Pornhub to post this interview. It doesn't necessarily have the right demographic for audience, but we're not breaking any terms and services by not doing any adult things. You know, what was it? Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn from, what the heck is it? Oh, not Chris. I'm so having a blank right now because somebody's knocking on my door. Why can't I think of his name right now?
I don't know. Topless shilling.
Yeah, but there was a crypto enthusiast that was making podcasts on Pornhub back in the day, and
Really?
yeah, they were this is when I first got into Bitcoin. And I can't. Chris Rose, Chris D Rose, that's his name. Whoever's knocking, go away. Chris DeRose was doing videos at a conference in a bathroom, basically in his boxers in a men's public bathroom. So there's people using urinals, and you could hear people shitting and farting, and like he was just doing Bitcoin interviews with CEOs like Charlie Lee, and I'm just like, this is genius. But again, like, you know, strokingtokens.com, they're doing some cool stuff with the tech in the background, right? And Monarch is another company that I'm working with right now. Monarch Token, they have a really cool wallet. Right now you can buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum in your wallet, and you never have to give up your private key. So as soon as you give them the money, imagine Coinbase gives you your private key right away.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if many people that are, you know, your followers are looking at Celsius Network.
Yeah, so we actually spoke about Celsius. I was supposed to do.
Give me
I was
1
supposed to do
second.
some
Go ahead.
stuff. No, go ahead. So I was supposed to do some stuff, guys. Here, 1 second. Let me boost this up. I was supposed to do some stuff in regards to Celsius, guys. It's a pretty cool way to earn interest on your, I guess, yeah, on your crypto actually. So that was actually a pretty cool thing with Celsius. I really like their idea, I guess, behind it. You're definitely earning more interest than you would be having, you know, just your money in a bank, right?
Right. So that's what Monarch Token's doing. If you have the Monarch wallet, you can buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum. You get your private key, so you don't have to worry about the exchange holding your assets. And you can in-app, starting next week or the following week, you're going to be able to use Celsius Network. So you're going to be able to earn interest off your Bitcoin that's sitting on your wallet. So imagine having a hardware wallet or a software wallet that you can have your Bitcoin sit on, and you're earning interest off of it, same way like you would your checking account.
Yeah, that's Alex Mashinsky's project, right?
Yeah, dude, he's the founder, the co-founder of VoIP, Voice over IP Address. So not a lot of people give that as much credit as it deserves, but actually, I've been a fan of him since I was like 14 or something like that. I wrote an article about Voice over IP Address. Because one of the first phones I ever had, I couldn't afford the phone bill, so I had to figure out how to use it, and couldn't really pay for Skype to call my friends around the world that I've made in AOL chat rooms, so I learned how to use Voice over IP Address. So
Yeah.
he's an OG disruptor. He's been disrupting, and he fought to keep Voice over IP free of utility. So we could use it for free, and the government couldn't charge us for it like a utility service, which would have been like a phone bill, essentially.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool project, guys. I'll actually shoot that inside of the call rooms, guys, so you guys can all check out.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing and empowering tool for anybody. Because like when we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about being our own bank. Well, what's the best part about a bank is they have a way to make interest off the money that they're holding.
Correct. Exactly, guys. You know, and it's actually really good at percentages. It's actually really surprising at percentages.
And it's not as concerning because I think it's like live interest, right? So if I pull out a Bitcoin, I just stop earning interest on that Bitcoin that was sitting on the wallet. So it's not like they have to have access to the private keys or locked in a 10-day escrow or something like that. It's like live interest. So if I just move it, then it's not earning interest anymore.
Yeah, and then you put it back in, and it's back to earning interest.
Yeah.
You know, some of these projects, guys, that Ken's talking about. That's why I say go check out his channel. He talks a lot about this stuff with other influencers in the game, guys, and there's a lot of really good material. It's actually really cool to like really see a lot of these videos. Last year when I started diving into fundamentals on a harder level.
Yeah, I wanted to get a little bit back on the topic though with that credit card, debit card thing with Binance.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Sort of like what my point was to that is, it's taking a lot away from Bitcoin, and it's actually adding undue credit to shitcoins everywhere. It's taking away the retail investors' opportunity to learn about the foundational asset that is Bitcoin by purchasing Bitcoin, then trading it for an alternative currency. And most retail investors and every traditional investor, I know you'd agree with this. If you're going to buy something to buy something else, you might keep 5 to 10% of that original purchase that you just made to keep you from FOMOing out.
Correct.
Now, a lot of
Correct.
people that would get into Bitcoin just to buy a shitcoin are not incentivized that hold that 5 to 10% of the original thing that they bought to buy the second thing. And then we're going to lose the Bitcoin pairing, which is really going to throw the market in a tizzy when we don't see as much like volatility movements and the same directions that we have seen. As one boat rises, the other goes with it. We're not going to see that same trajectory with Bitcoin pairings, because if the fiat pairings have more volume, then it's not going to matter if Bitcoin goes up. Your Satoshi value will still go down. It's not
Correct.
beneficial for the ecosystem.
Now, from a trader's perspective, obviously, guys, we want to be unhinged from Bitcoin because obviously, a lot of times, let's just say I'm trading an altcoin, altcoin
Your goal is
goes
to
up.
make more fiat, I know.
We're here to make more fiat. But, altcoin goes up, guys. Bitcoin takes a dumper and everything, everything is caught out. And before you know it, you're in a negative. Now, both Ken and I, obviously, we love CZ. Look, we love the guy. You like the guy, I'm assuming. CZ's a good guy. I'm not saying, he's definitely on top of his shit, guys. He's always, very, 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 very vocal with his opinions, as well as he's very communicative, which is awesome for a CEO of his caliber. Now, in this particular standpoint, I don't agree so much about the credit cards. Like I said, we are going away from what cryptocurrencies does stand for. However, the one argument that I will say, though, is that don't you think this will allow more people to have awareness towards these shit coins per se?
No, dude, they're going to be spending money they don't have. You can use a credit card to buy Bitcoin. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
That's true. That's true. It's a very volatile.
You're fractionally reserving Bitcoin or fiat into a Bitcoin. Like you're spending money you don't have on something that you physically, tangibly now have.
It's a speculative market still.
If anything, it's going to hurt a lot of people's credit scores. That's what I predict. I predict a lot of newbies using credit cards to get into this space and screwing up so bad. I mean, look what the people you can go to the BitConnect fail videos of 2018 and see people that mortgaged their houses and put BitConnect accounts for their kids. And
but don't you think that's almost like natural selection in a way? Like they are grown people. They're grown ass adults. Like it's you can't expect
it's
people
enabling.
to
and that's what happened with the financial collapse of the real estate market, right?
Yeah,
they
but it's like
that.
Yeah, but it's like McDonald's, right? McDonald's is fucking terrible for you. It's right around the corner. But at the same time, people still eat there. You can't blame McDonald's for...
The only thing I think this is good for is people saying, who cares about their FICO score? Who cares? Burn it. Because if you have
maximize it,
max it out on Bitcoin with Binance and put it on Celsius network and earn interest on it, and that's it. Who cares about your credit? Or you could use the Celsius network interest to pay off your credit card.
See, that's the thing. So, which is really interesting. I actually thought about this when I actually heard about Celsius. Right now, guys, if you were to, let's just say Bitcoin completely stays stable, if you actually bought something on your credit card, then brought it over to Celsius, and Bitcoin slowly, gradually rose up, you would actually make more money from Celsius.
And your credit score would be pretty
high. Your credit score would be going up because you're essentially grabbing a loan and then you're paying it off.
But that's if rainbows, right?
Yeah, if rainbows, exactly. If 2017 came back.
Right. I think we're actually another year away from that, man. I think this year maybe with Tone Vase on it may be going down a little bit.
Tone Vase, dude. But come on, dude.
I think that after 2019, when we start to see these institutions get in, once they're in, that's the learning curve, right? They're not even in yet. They're just on the sideline still spectating. I don't even know if Coinbase custody has even been really used. I remember a lot of people were excited for it because it was $100,000 as an institutional investor to use Coinbase custody, and then it was a minimum of $1 million per trade. But I don't really know if that picked up in the institutional investor world, so I don't know if it even matters. Like if this next thing will even matter, right? Like they're still going to keep spectating before they move in.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys. We've been on here about 55 minutes right now.
Yeah,
Do you have any closing comments, man, about this whole thing? I guess,
yeah,
and
dude.
and, and you can say fuck Ripple if you want. No one in my friend group says likes Ripple. Quite honestly, now I don't mind Ripple, guys. Ripple makes me money. Look, I'm not gonna hate on
So
Ripple. It
will
makes
Philip Morris stock, but it's going to give a lot of people cancer because of cigarettes.
me Ken's a good guy. He's a humanitarian. He's a little bit of an anarchist at this point. I'm starting to realize.
A little bit, actually. I was thinking about going to Mexico for Anarchapulco. I'm
Hey,
tempted.
what's it called? I
Immortal
actually have.
Technique is going to be there, dude. That's like if I go, I'm going to meet Immortal Technique.
Yeah, I have a member of mine that's offering a suite or something like that. So I can actually give you his contact. You can contact him yourself.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I have a ticket. I just need to book a flight, and I have a few people because I'm in the group chat on Facebook. Like everybody wants me to crash with them. I guess like they've seen my Twitter feed from 2018. They're like, "We need to party." I'm like,
So
"Yeah."
what is that? Just real fast. Just what is this conference? This anarch.
It's an anarchist conference. Obviously, it's more about like freedom, and right now because of cryptocurrency enabling this giant leap into freedom, it's kind of been focused on cryptocurrencies, blockchain technologies
Awesome.
that empower self freedom financially. So, you're gonna have like a lot of sort of hippie vibes, but there's a few suits that are involved as well.
Awesome. Hey, that's a good time.
But
So closing
yeah,
comments.
closing comments, guys. Dudes, don't grovel for institutional acceptance. I don't think it's going to matter in the end. We saw it with the futures market. Didn't matter. Didn't help us any. I don't believe that the ETF's going to help or matter much either. We do have a few, like I said, Coinbase custody and other institutional avenues into crypto. Nobody's moving 10 million, 100 million into it institutionally yet. I think there's a long speculation time coming because they just started researching it. The US government just a few months ago made their first government entity to investigate cryptocurrencies and companies that are doing ICOs and things like that. So we're probably going to have a decent year of growing pains, where it's just going to be real uncomfortable, but I do predict that this a very similar mooning will occur where when Bitcoin went from 1,000 to $20,000, there was really no I'll get in when it comes there it just kept taking off. People that were spectating kept spectating and they missed it, and then eventually obviously people bought the top, or otherwise people wouldn't have been able to make money on the way down. So
Yeah.
the same thing I believe will happen. It's going to be an exponential growth. It will be parabolic by the time institutional money moved into Bitcoin. It's not going to be as much an investment anymore as it is a savings, because that will flatten out really fast. There's
Yeah.
that ride up will plateau really quick because institutional money will move in a very strategical manner where they're not going to cause an inflation in their next investment. They're going to make these investments strategically, mostly OTC, so they don't hyperinflate the asset they're trying to invest in. So when they invest next month or whatever the next annual investment is, they didn't cause it to go up. They're not backing their own investment themselves, right? They need the market to give that more weight and more value. So keep your eye on the halvening. 2020, I expect a lot to come about 2020 when these institutional investors do realize the supply issuance will dwindle drastically, increasing the value of Bitcoin because the cost of electricity to mine what they're going to get in a reward. They're not even these basics things that I'm talking. They don't even care to know about this. But when this becomes common sense for institutional investors, when we have blockchain advisors at every board at Fidelity, then yeah, they'll know what they're getting into. But I think that we got to stop caring about them and educate and on-ramp retail investors. Traditional retail investors, your friends, your family, corner stores, tell them that they can accept Bitcoin and they can get fiat for it and keep 10% in Bitcoin or something, and use it on Amazon to get 30% off their supplies in their store. Whatever the case may be. But I think that if you want your bags to moon, you're going to have to show people how to use the technology those bags are backed by, okay?
Yeah.
You
So
know,
be an advocate for it.
exactly.
Actually,
If
not
you're
just
trading a
invest.
shitcoin, use the
Yeah.
blockchain it's built on. Know how it works, if it works, the user experience. Because if people don't have a good experience on that blockchain's platform, then the currency ain't worth shit.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, it's just ease of accessibility essentially, guys. It's up to you guys to spread this kind of knowledge. And UI UX is huge thing. Accessibility is obviously going to be massive, like we just said. It's going to be a big year, and it's up to, I guess, everybody to sort of pitch in. Not just the influencers like Ken going out there. It's actually everybody's job if you want to see this thing long term.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing you can do, just whenever you're about to buy something, just ask, even kiddingly, do you accept Bitcoin? And that's it. That's all you have. That's the bare minimum that you can do to, help mainstream adoption. And then there's obviously meetups that you could host and organize. You could start a Facebook group page and find out that there's a lot of people in your neighborhood that are interested in this stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. I just went to one up in LA about with wallets with, Nye, Brecky, Wendy came later, a bunch of
Yeah,
people.
Wendy and me had a meetup last night. A bunch of people came out, and it was awesome,
Yeah,
dude. I
it-
really hope people do more meetups, less conferences.
exactly, exactly. But all right, cool, man. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna close this out right
Likewise.
now, and then we can
Yeah,
end it.
guys, don't forget, check out Crypto Nico Z on YouTube. And I know we're streaming now on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook.
Are we on Twitter
We're
too,
on
dude?
everything right now.
Dude, you
So,
actually have to send me the link on how to set all this up. This is ridiculous. I'm only on YouTube, guys. Be sure to check out Ken's channel, check out his website, all this good stuff, guys. Learn how to use your crypto, and there is definitely a whole other side of this besides trading.
hey, guys.
So let me close the stream. Thanks so much for watching, guys.